Hari Om. Recently we've been discussing about the good and the evil of this world, but how it all proceeds from God. How it is really only the manifestation of God. And it's the angle of our vision, the way we interact with the world, and the way we interact with our own inner world that causes us to be affected by that which is good and full of light, and that which is detrimental to our own inner nature and consciousness. But in truth, many say this is all God's Maya and it is impossible to overcome. Therefore, live life, pray to God, and do good, but they all look for that one thing that is needful, that essential thing that all scriptures throughout the world say this is the pinnacle, the hub that will ensure us that we are moving along the direct path. Sri Ramana Maharshi spoke of this one thing as bhakti, as devotion to God, saying it is that which bridges us across, which takes us across the ocean of the abyss. Here again we see the paradox, because if this world is full of divinity and divine nature, how can it be called an abyss? The key is given in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Bible and many other scriptures. For what causes us to feel that we are in a sea of misery is because of the delineation between the individual self, which we consider as us or I am, and the God that pervades. And if this God that pervades is full of what's called Maya or delusion, it's seemingly then difficult, or some say impossible, to pass over. But the great Saint Yanadeva talked about Maya in a most beautiful sense. And again, this is referred to in that wonderful book by Vinoba in his talks on the Gita, where he says this. He refers to the passage in the Gita where Yanadeva says, here Yanadeva translates, "Only those who worship me single-mindedly and with unswerving devotion can cross over this river of Maya. In fact, they need not have to cross over it at all. They experience that the water of Maya has dried up while they are still on the very bank itself, having not even attempted to cross over. That is, this mirage created by Maya disappears for them here and now. This is due to their devotion to God." What does this devotion do? It is the true essence of yoga, for it makes the mind, again, one-pointed. This is why we do meditation. This is why we try to pull our mind and our senses inward in a devotional act. This process, as we're bringing everything toward one thought and devoting it to the goal, it's like heat and butter. It clarifies it. It just from the fact of constantly trying to pull our mind back, a process of purification goes forth. But the heat is the devotion to God. So he goes on further to say, what is this Maya after all? It is nothing but the Lord's creative power. It is really a positive thing. It is the Lord's skill and art. He created this world out of a single eternal self with eightfold prakriti, all the different elements in the gunas or the modes of awareness into them. If we want to go beyond them and attain true inner peace, we should reach out for the creator of them all. We should know him only. Only then will we get rid of the delusion that gives rise to the divisions and antipathies and attachment. Vinoba goes on to say that literally what it is like soap and water. Soap is beneficial when it's combined with water for cleansing. Saying that the soap are the various different aspects of our yoga or our practice, our purity of life, our purity of diet, our dana, our giving, charity, our compassion towards others, and our own sternness in constantly maintaining those two pinnacles, or those two kind of important aspects of our yoga, being abhyasa and constant practice, and vairagya or discrimination. But these things, again, even though essential, they're like soap. For the water is bhakti. We can clean ourselves, we can be refreshed and nourished through bhakti alone. But when they're brought into and combined with the yoga of practice, love of God, discrimination, all of these different aspects, of course the cleansing and cooling and nourishment is further enhanced. But what these things do is bring us again to one-pointedness of mind. So he's saying to attain purity of mind, many vikarmas, many actions which are efficacious to bringing us closer into God contact, they're like sacrifice and worship, charity or sharing, dana, japa, prayer, repeating God's holy name, penance, and dharana and dhyana, concentration and meditation. All of these aspects bring our mind one-pointed. So this is what we're after. We're after focusing our mind, but the overlaying effort should be devotion to God. So in this sense, we should try to remember the words of the Lord when he tells us, through this devotion, this is what will become of us. This is what Jesus referred to. He says, those blessed souls who have fought the good fight, for their end is with me. The Lord says in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita this, certainly all these noble men, all these men who strive after me, seek me and please me, but the man of discrimination I see as my very self. For if we look upon those who are God men in this world, those who came before us and are called saints and masters, they were masters of discrimination and love of God. So the two must go forth together. The Lord continues to say, for he alone loves me, the man of discrimination and practice, because I myself, because the Lord himself is his last and only goal, the goal of his devoted heart. Here we say we must combine mind and heart together, but through this, all the efforts that we put forth, yes, they are efforts of the mind. The heart-going aspect of our yoga is our devotion. In itself will carry on and bring us to God if our mind is one-pointed. So the Lord continues and concludes by saying this to us. Through many a long life, from life to life, our discrimination will ripen like a fruit. It will ripen and become sweet. Therefore, when we discriminate against things in the world and we understand these things are good, those things are not good, when this discrimination ripens, all becomes sweet. And we see the world as nothing but the divine abode of God, and it is this which causes the Maya to dry up, and we need not cross over waters of delusion. We must just persevere. And the Lord says, he makes me, we make him our refuge. This is true Saranagati, this is true surrender. We take refuge in the consciousness of God, becoming one-pointed in that bliss which we get from our practice and our devotion especially. We know that Brahman is all. How very rare are those great souls.